What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brad, joined by my co-hosts, Micah.
Hey.
And Carrie.
What's up?
So, Micah, I am stopping you for the next hour or so from playing Deathloop. I'm here to tell you that you're probably going to enjoy yourself a lot with this game.
All right. I hope so. I'm seeing 8s, 9s, and 10 being thrown around.
Yeah.
And this is I don't have a beef with Arkane Studios. I just didn't really care for those Dishonored games for whatever reason, but I'm willing to give this a shot. And if I don't take to this, it's not you, it's me.
Well, so I also did not care for Dishonored. I've played about, 4 or 5 hours of Deathloop so far. So, and I like it a lot better than Dishonored. And here's the reason why. So Dishonored is very much like a stealth game, but done in first person, and it's linear. And it's one of those things that if you get spotted, you then had to go balls to the wall, and you weren't really trying to play that way. And it just didn't feel right for the character. And it could also be incredibly difficult to do things exactly as you wanted to do. It's kind of like a Hitman game, except that, Hitman games nowadays have levels that can be replayed over and over and over again because there's no linear campaign that you're going through. And I think that's the thing that Deathloop takes care of with the Dishonored formula, by having this time loop that you're constantly circling between as you go to different areas at different times of day, because that way, if you are trying to stealth through the game and you get blown, you don't care about running and gunning, because then the next time you go back to that area at the same time of day, then you'll have another chance to do it again, essentially. And it's been really fun so far. The gameplay's really fun. Again, also being a shooter is helpful in terms of that action gameplay, because Dishonored, of course, not a shooter at all, more of a melee focused game. But yeah, it's been cool. The story has been tantalizing enough. They're leaving enough breadcrumbs that it's kind of like a thread that you're pulling on that you're trying to unravel more and more. Interesting how they do it. It's funny because this game got a lot of preview coverage in terms of different trailers and stuff like that being shown out, and they do a really poor job of actually telling you the fine details of how the game works, which is good because then you can kind of discover it on your own. So essentially, you're living the same day over and over again as this character Cole, who's trapped on this island. And everyone on the island knows that everyone's living the same day over and over again. Everyone's cool with it. And it's populated by these 8 visionaries, and the goal is to kill all of them in a 1-day cycle, essentially, because if you can't kill them all before the cycle resets, then everything goes back to the way it was at the beginning of the day, and you have to start over again. So essentially, what you're doing in the game as you progress through the main story is you are visiting different locales at different points of the day, because different things will happen or different areas will be accessible to you. And you're trying, essentially, the first several hours of the game is you're just checking out areas and almost gathering intel, because you're trying to figure out where people are going to be at certain times of day, or build this Rube Goldberg-esque machine to orchestrate them being in certain areas. So there's one character who has something that he's doing during the day that distracts him from being somewhere else later. So if you can kind of put throw a wrench into what he was doing during the day, even before he gets to that point of the day, then it'll make him go to a different locale later in the game, so that you can kind of group up some of the visionaries together to kill them at the same time. It's like I said, it's been super fun so far. There's also a lot of side stuff in the levels, side quests, for as much as they can be side quests in a game like this, different areas and secrets to discover that Dishonored kind of had too. But again, since Dishonored was a linear game, it was kind of hard to experience those things without replaying the campaign over again. These ones, they're just, you can get back to them whenever you want to. And then the part that some people were a little hinky with is you have this main antagonist, Juliana, who is the woman in the trailers that you've seen that is essentially going after you all the time, and she will just kind of appear. She talks to you on your radio as you're going through the game a lot, but then she'll just appear randomly in levels. When she's there because the game tells you that she's like in the level, and she kind of locks the area down. And so when she's in the level, you can either try to like hack the locks open and escape, or you can hunt her down because she's going to be trying to kill you. And the kind of hook with this is that if you have your online mode turned on, Juliana will be controlled by actual people. And there's a mode in the game where you too can go in as Juliana and try to kill other cults that are in the game as well. So this is, a mode that you would think is ripe with annoyance.
Yeah, man.
it's not that bad. It because honestly, it all depends on when in the loop you encounter her. So like if you're encountering her like first thing in the morning before you've had a chance to scrounge for supplies, because what you can carry over with you from run to run starts very limited, but you can grow a larger arsenal through different mechanics in the game. It's a little bit tougher to take her on early on in the day. But if she comes at you at night when you've already collected some powers, and you maybe have killed some visionaries to get their special power and have a better arsenal built up, she might actually be trapped with you as opposed to you being trapped with her. Like the first couple times that a player invaded me, I actually killed them and was stalking them more so as you go around. So it's actually not as bad as you think it might be. Plus, remember too, Cole early on in the game gets a trinket that lets him revive twice. So each run, basically you have 3 lives, and if you die 3 times in the same area, that ends your run. Juliana only gets 1 life, so she has to, like, if she catches you at the beginning of when you step into an area, she's got to kill you 3 times, whereas you only have to kill her once, and then she's gone for the rest of that run essentially, because she's dead in that world. So again, it's interesting, and again, if you don't like that, you can always turn it off, but there's benefits to playing as her. Basically leveling her up lets you get new outfits for Cole or for Colt as he goes along. So like there's a little, not something you need, it's purely cosmetic, but it's cool that you get a little bonus for playing in that mode of the game as well. It encourages people to do it, which they kind of need in order to make that whole synergy work. I think you're gonna like it. I've had a lot of fun so far. I'm gonna be playing it as soon as some more as soon as we're done recording this show right now. And like I said, it seems like there's more to do than you might have thought. And they kind of took like what people like to do with Dishonored, because I think there were a lot of folks that really got into Dishonored that wanted to kind of replay those levels to find all the secrets and kind of poke around all the different ways that you can, do what you're going to do. And they kind of made a sandbox almost that you can play in, which so far has been really interesting. So looking forward to seeing how more of it unravels. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you think about it when we reconvene next week.
All right. It's gotta pry me away from Tales of Arise though, because I actually kind of like it. I like it a lot. Look, I'm not a huge Tales person. I played Tales of Vesperia, which is kind of like the Final Fantasy VII of Tales games, right? Like it's not the best. It's not the best, but it's the one that broke through.
I would argue that's probably more Tales of the Abyss. I don't know if Tales has an equivalent. Arise might be the 7 equivalent as far as the one that breaks through.
Well, this broke through for me.
Okay.
And I played Berseria a little bit. Velvet dressed like a whore, which is why I picked it up. But I didn't really take to that. But I am taking to Tales of Arise. Look, Tales of Arise is anime the game, right? Like it's like got so many like anime tropes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you got your stalwart hero who is, tough but honorable. He'll do anything for you. A little bit naive, right? You have the prickly woman who is, you need to know that she's prickly. Well, she has a curse that no one can touch her lest you get stuck with magical thorns, right? And it turns out that the only person that can actually physically touch her as your main character, right? Like two people who are just destined to be together, right? You have a character who is just a shonen character. He's just a young boy who knows how to fight, right? And he's you got a couple other you got a mage character, you got a tough character. Like this game, the characters are really good. The story is about racism.
I heard they were tackling like some like right-wing kind of fucking topics in this game, essentially.
It's about racism. It's literally about one group of people oppressing another group of people, and the oppressed trying to liberate their brethren from the oppressors. And I mean, they don't make any bones about it, right? Like like one of the characters is like a dark-skinned person who has a dream of the oppressed and the oppressors, living together in harmony, right? But
does he also have a counterpart that advocates for much more militant advancement?
I mean, well, it's the thing is, like, the twist on that is that he is of the oppressors, right? He is of the group of oppressors, and it's about class, right? Like, he's one of your party members, and he's just like some uppity dude. Like, he doesn't know how to do things for himself. Like, at one point, like, he doesn't like know how to brush his teeth and shit like that. He's like Prince Akeem from Coming to America. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, yo, come on, yo. Like, he knows how to fight with a staff, but like doesn't know how to do shit for himself. Doesn't know how to dress himself. You know what I mean? Like, it's wild, man. But I'm really digging the story. In terms of like sci-fi narrative using being used as a metaphor for something, like, it's overt, right? Like, it's super overt, but I dig it because you don't see stories like that being told through this medium. And you got people on the oppressed side who are they're not exactly they're not all victims. You know what I mean? So they have shades of gray. I'm very impressed with the story so far in this video game. And usually when I play an RPG, I'm just kind of going through the motions to get to the next story beat. But no, I'm actively interested in wanting
That's why you missed out on the extra content in Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah.
That's how you play JRPGs.
Well, I only do that with characters that I don't give a fuck about, right? Did you talk to the gunsmith? Did you
yes,
form that
I
bond
did.
with him? Why?
Because he's an interesting character.
Nah, yo. What about the politician? What about the politician?
Yep, politician. And here's the thing: I didn't even like the politician. I like the politician has the best, the best battle benefits that you get from talking to him. Because if if you hang out with the politician, you can restart negotiations with demons. Because you learned how to negotiate.
I never thought of the politician because like I couldn't go over there at night. Like I was like, I gotta hit up the batting cages, my dude. Like you gotta
yeah, yo, like I got much better things to do than to talk with your old portly ass. Get the hell out of here. I hated that guy. I didn't really know him. I don't hate him.
I didn't care for his story, but knowing the kind of benefits that you get from talking to him.
I ain't know all that, right? The psychic.
Well, he just annoyed me. Like politician annoyed me because like he was standing out behind the station. He's like, come back at night. I was like, why can't you just give me the gist now? I'm here.
Right. Yo, bastard. I didn't care for the psychic. I leveled her up because I was running out of people to level up, but that's neither here nor there. Look, I ain't got time to comb through RPGs that are already over 100 hours. But yeah, I'm digging Tales of Arise. This will be one that I actually try to really comb through and dig into because I like the characters. It's anime the game, which is nice, and the combat is it's the best that I've played of the other two, Tales games that I've played. This is the best. I it's real time, and it's action based, but it's not button mashy, right? Like if you try to button mash your attack button, your character will stop, right? So there are certain combinations of regular attacks and special moves called arts that you need to do in order to keep a combo chain going. And they've got these like really flashy moves where two characters will team up to finish off a character. It's very stylized. It's anime the game, right? And so yeah, it's very tropey, but it's done in a way that that I'm really digging. And I've kind of fallen in love with that game. I really like it.
Speaking of digging into things, you're on that Final Fantasy 14 down in there.
Yep. Still cruising. How many hours do I have? 196 hours in Final Fantasy 14 since I started playing.
God damn, what you playing? You started like
mid-July.
Oh, okay.
Like
I thought you started, for some reason I thought you started like last month.
Nah.
I'm just kind of bugging because you're playing this and you've still been playing like Monster Hunter stuff.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Now that I finished the story of Stormblood, which I enjoyed, I didn't like it as much as I liked Heaven's Word, but Stormblood was pretty cool. Stormblood is basically all about helping a nation regain its independence from the Garlean Empire. So you're basically like liberating a nation that's been very severely oppressed by this conquering force. Yeah, here's the thing. There's crossover content between Monster Hunter World and Final Fantasy 14. And I played the stuff in Monster Hunter World a while ago. And what Monster Hunter World got was a fight against Behemoth, which for a while was by far the most difficult fight in the game. And in Final Fantasy 14, you get a trial against a Rathalos. And it's a lot of fun. I really want the Rathalos mount, but in order to do that, you really have to grind out that fight. But yeah, I don't know. Now I've finally done what I wanted to do in Final Fantasy 14, which is just play Monster Hunter. So yeah, so I'm working on that post Stormblood, pre Shadowbringers content. The whole goal is to be fully caught up on the main scenario quest line by the time Endwalker comes out in November. And I could be a shit and just like pay for the story skip, but why would I do that? I'm paying money to play the game. Why would I give them more money to then not play the game?
Wait, they charge you money to not
to get a story skip. So basically by paying money
just to level your character?
I don't know if it levels the character necessarily. I'm sure it does. But basically you can pay for I'll bring up the Mog station to see exactly what it does. You can basically skip entire swaths of the story, which then unlocks main scenario progression. It's $25 to it instantly completes all main scenario quests up through the end of Stormbloods, allowing players to immediately begin playing through the main scenario of Shadowbringers. And players will also receive basically a bunch of high-level gear for that. So yeah,
that seems weird to me.
Why people would do that?
Well, no, why they're even letting you like, hey, give us money to not play our game. Like that's
well, at this point, it's taken me 200 hours to get through Stormblood, and I still have to do all of Shadowbringers before Endwalker comes out, and there is currently no way to skip Shadowbringer. So basically what this does is it allows people to skip as much as possible and not have to sink all that time and effort into playing the game, and they can instead sort of jump in where everybody else who has been playing the game has been. It's just a skip. It's a complete time saver.
But if I bought like the new expansion that comes out in November, is that skip like part of the expansion? Like, do I have the option to jump ahead if I want to? I new expansion?
Like if you are starting new in Final Fantasy, you are starting at A Realm Reborn. Regardless of when you jumped in.
Interesting. That's a weird. I don't. Do other MMOs do that? Like,
I don't know. I haven't really played other MMOs besides like
that. Destiny did not like Destiny. Like, whenever you jumped in, like they were just like, hey, like here's the story that where we're at right now. Like, come play this story, and like you could go back and play the old stuff. Well, whatever's available in the game, because they vaulted a lot of it.
I mean, I think part of the reason why FF14 is different in that regard is because there is a linear, like, here's the point where you start and here's where we're at right now. So to understand where you're at right now, you kind of need the context of everything that happened with these characters in the previous content. But yeah, I don't know, like, unless you're just really dying to jump right into where people are right now, or if you just don't care about the story, and there I'm sure are a lot of people who don't care about the story. But I care enough, and I also have no interest in paying them more money to not play the game, because that's all it boils down to. So yep.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, very much so. So bunch of new games coming out this week besides the aforementioned Deathloop. Cruisin' Blast comes to Nintendo Switch. Darksiders 3 is on Google Stadia for the three of you that might be interested in such a thing. Flynn, Son of Crimson, comes to PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC. Eastward comes to Switch and PC. This is an interesting game. I've seen some previews for this. It's an action RPG. It looks very I'm getting some serious,
getting some big mother vibes from this one.
Some vibes off of that. So might have to check that out at some point to see what the buzz is all about. Skatebird comes to Xbox, Switch, PC, and Linux.
I want to play Skatebird.
Yeah, I mean, it looks funny. So I remember when they showed that off. Aragami 2 comes to PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom comes to Nintendo Switch, and Toem comes to PlayStation, Switch, and PC.
It's a lot of games.
It is.
Go to our Discord. I don't have a transition. I'm very tired. Go to our Discord.
You can talk about those games at our Discord.
There you go. That's why you get paid the big bucks. Go to dunsepixels.com/fans. None of us do. Go to dunsepixels.com/fans and be invited to our Discord. You talk about all of the stuff. I like how all of our Discords are very different, right? Like, I would argue that the Dense Pixels Discord is has the most variety and therefore bang for your buck. The Nerdpocalypse one is, very much about movies and comics. Those are like the really active channels, but all of the channels are active in the Discord for Dense Pixels. Every weekend you can talk about like English Premier League. You can talk about F1 racing. You can talk about video games.
We had a lot of F1 chat popping off
this
weekend because there was a huge incident at Monza between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. Took each other out of the race.
Yeah. They turned. They faced back to back. They walked 10 paces, turned around, shot, killed each other. Took each of them out of the race. It was weird. No, I don't know. I haven't gotten into it yet because there's not an Apple TV Plus show about F1 racing. But when there is,
there's a Netflix show about it.
I'll be there. when there's an Apple
You
TV
need
Plus.
the Lasso equivalent of
Yes.
Drive to Survive to come out.
And then, talk about video games too. And there's a lot of wrestling talk in there also. So densepixels.com/fans. Go to youtube.com/densepixels, click the subscribe button, and then click the bell notification button, and then click the one that says all to be notified of all of the videos that pop up each and every week. So you can see my very tired face as we talk about video games. Subscribe to all of the TNP Studios podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, including the flagship show, The Nerd Apocalypse, Black on Black Cinema. Look, we just did a review for a movie called Karen on Black on Black Cinema. That was the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life, to the point where, and my co-hosts agree, to the point where the two of them could not be sober during the review. And if you are looking on youtube.com/densepixels right now, and you're seeing my face and you're seeing my eyes and how droopy they look and maybe a little pink, that's because we had a very late night and I am very tired. But if you go on to watch the video feed for the Black on Black Cinema episode for Karen, when that releases, you will see that Jay's eyes are red for a very, very different reason.
All right.
So it's one to look forward to. So coming distractions, our contemporary movie review show, we reviewed recently Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. No spoilers. And the weekly preview episode for the Look Forward Political podcast. And if that's not enough, you can go to densepixels.com/premium for $5 a month, $50 for the year. You get access to the premium slate of shows, including the airing of grievances, No Time to Bleed, The Men with the Golden Tongues, Upstage Conversation, and the full episode of the Look Forward Political podcast.
So the trial of the century in video games has reached its end. Judge Yvonne Gonzalez-Rogers issued her ruling in the Apple versus Epic case. And as Carrie astutely puts it, everybody lost, essentially.
Yeah, the best possible outcome in the grand scheme of
honestly,
things.
yeah. Like for these mega corporations squabbling about their millions of dollars, like this was the optimal outcome. So the big headline news was that Judge Rogers issued a permanent injunction against Apple that put new restrictions on App Store rules, which will have a much wider effect outside of Epic Games. Basically, they've been permanently restrained and enjoined from prohibiting developers from including in their apps and their metadata buttons external links or other calls to action that direct customers to purchasing stuff outside of the Apple purchasing ecosystem. So basically, Apple now has to let pretty much anyone who wants to have a way to offer direct payments to those companies that Apple can't essentially leech into, which is a pretty big deal. That will take place on December 9th unless another court steps in and precludes that from happening. However, on the flip side of that coin, the court also said that Epic Games was in breach of its contract with Apple when it implemented the alternative payment system in Fortnite, and therefore they must pay Apple 30% of all the revenue that was generated as they were going around the App Store with their then illegal direct payment app, which to the tune of about $3.5 million, which to both companies is
really nothing.
Sand on the beach. Essentially. Also notably that the judge, the other thing that people were looking at the judge was they were curious to see if Apple might get hit with like some antitrust violations in this, and they will not. Basically, she concluded that Apple is not a monopoly under any federal or state antitrust laws.
But
yes,
but the trial did show that Apple is engaging in anti-competitive conduct under California law. So basically this judge went, fuck you, we're done here. Like,
we're not quite done. Epic's appealing the separate ruling,
yeah.
Requiring them to pay Apple for kind of going around the rules. Apple's pretty happy about this. I can't imagine they're too happy about the direct payment aspect of things, but
yeah.
They were pretty much proven, according to the judge, to be in the right with this whole thing. So we will see what happens when the appeal is heard, and we will see how this impacts things down the road. As of right now, Fortnite not yet back on the iOS marketplace, so they're not willing to play nice yet, or should I say, Apple's not willing to play nice yet with Epic, as things are concerned right now. So
yeah. Well, this is the best possible outcome for this. There's no one wins.
I would have been pleased if Apple had been hit with some sort of
some actual antitrust,
some harsher penalty.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it's not a monopoly by the letter of the law, but it kind of also is, especially on iOS, because without jailbreaking your phone, you can't sideload apps onto it. At least with Android, you can sideload stuff if you choose to do that. So that was a little bit disappointing. It is funny to see Epic's case essentially get proven and them still losing at the end of the day, which was
yeah.
quite humorous to me.
Basically just being like, so like you're right that this is fucked up, but also you breached your contract. So
right on the merits, wrong in the law. So
yeah, like you can't, like, I mean, like, robbing from the rich to give to the poor is very noble and the humane thing to do, but like you still committed robbery.
You're still stealing.
Like, I get it, but like, god damn. Yeah, you're right. Look, this is, I mean, I'm just glad that our national nightmare is over. And now we can focus on more important things like the new iPhone.
Hey. Yeah, they did have their presentation today, right?
They did. I need to see if it's worth me.
I don't own any Apple products, and I'm not going to start now. So the last Apple product I owned was an iPod Nano in high school. So
what do you have? Do you have an 11 or a 12, Micah, right now?
I have a 10, and my PSN handle. You bet I'm waiting for the 13 to come out.
Well, I mean, even if it wasn't the 13th, I'm pretty sure you would upgrade anyway after 3 years.
Yeah, it's time. It's time. My stupid phone doesn't charge when I stick the lightning port in the lightning slot or whatever it's called.
Are you still doing wired charging? This is the 21st century.
I'm old.
I still I don't.
You guys are insane.
I really want to get one of those Galaxy, like the fold up ones. I want to go back to having a flip phone.
I've heard the fold phones are nice when you're doing like web browsing and stuff like that. Like it's very handy for that specific application. Not as nice for using it as a phone.
I'm not folding glass.
I want to flip on one of these flip phones. I want to go back to 2006. Give me a flip.
And that's, we joke about like Madden and all that, like not innovating. They just like take stuff out of 1 year and then reintroduce it 2 years later. Like that's all that this is, right? Like flip phones are coming back. Like, nah, flip phones are lame.
No, I want one.
Is it because you can really like hang up on someone?
That's definitely part. I don't really spend that much time on the phone.
Fuck you! You know what I mean? Like it's like fuck you, and it's like,
you know what a big part of it is. The pockets in women's jeans are not big enough for this to fit in my pocket anymore.
I understand. Yes,
and I need something that fits in my pocket. I also need people who design women's jeans to give me fucking pockets. So I'm not going to wear men's jeans because my butt is too big for men's.
It's all a conspiracy. It's all a conspiracy to keep you to getting like handbags, right?
I feel like that's absolutely correct.
They're in cahoots, man.
I mean, you're a seamstress. You could sew some pockets on it.
You think I'm gonna put in the effort to sew pockets into my own jeans? Are you out of your minds?
Like, I ain't mad at you.
This is the issue affecting women universally, regardless of race, of religion. Every woman wants bigger pockets in her jeans. Period.
Consider that one of the many stances that we can advocate for on this show, as we do.
If I run for president, I'm running on the platform of forcing jean manufacturers to give women bigger pockets. I feel like I would win. I feel like if that was my one stance, I would have a fighting shot.
So moving on to more wonderful corporate news. The Activision Blizzard saga continues onward as a union has filed a federal complaint against Activision Blizzard over workplace rights. Apparently, or allegedly, I should say, according to this complaint by the Communication Workers of America, Activision violated federal labor law through coercive rules, actions, and statements. I will read their quote. The employer has threatened employees that they cannot talk about or communicate about wages, hours, and working conditions is one of the things that they brought up here. This is the least surprising news of all time.
I was going to say the document also says that the company illegally tells staff they cannot discuss ongoing investigations, threatens or disciplines employees because of their activism, deploys surveillance and interrogations targeting legally protected activism, and maintains a social media policy that infringes on workers' rights. Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. Of course, this was going to go to the federal level.
How, when you are under the amount of scrutiny that Activision Blizzard is under, are you going to continue fucking up and letting yourself get into the news for reasons like this? It seems silly to me that you wouldn't be like keeping your nose clean, as they say, considering all the with all the media attention you're getting right now as it is.
I don't know.
I don't know, man. Maybe these big companies, like they just feel like they're untouchable, right? Like no one takes companies, like gigantic companies, to task. And if they do, like, it usually is swept under the rug quickly. Maybe this is just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Don't let me run a company.
So yeah, we'll see. Well, I'm sure we'll see more from this. But yeah, Activision Blizzard stays fucking up.
This story isn't going away anytime soon.
No, certainly not. Okay, so PlayStation had a state of play. It was a long state of play. There's a lot to talk about in this state of play. I don't really need to talk too much about games that we already knew about that they just showed trailers for. Like, we don't really need to talk about
Deathloop,
Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. We don't really need to talk about Deathloop because we already did. I don't even know that we need to talk about like Rainbow Six or Alan Wake.
The Alan Rewake.
Yeah, Alan Rewake.
What a missed opportunity for that game's title.
True, actually.
I literally just got it as you said it. That's
I would be remiss if I did not cede the floor first to our own Micah to talk about what had to have been his moment of the show that was preceded by a moment that I'm sure you were also excited for, but also at the same time not excited for simultaneously.
Man, I've never been so high and then crashed so hard so fast. Never have the numbers 2023 just given me so much fucking animosity. But I get it. Look, Spider-Man is coming back. Thank God. It's been 80 years. When that game come out? 2018.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be 2023, and Micah's going to look like the old woman from the end of Titanic.
To be fair, in this day and age, we don't know if we're still going to have a functioning civilization.
This is true.
So Micah just wants to make sure he gets that game before,
before the resource wars
living
begin.
underwater. So
yeah, man, I just want one side of the country is flooding, the other side of the country is completely arid. I just want this game to come out before the world breaks in half. Yeah, the trailer for Spider-Man came out, and boy am I excited. I think it was a foregone conclusion that Venom was going to be in Spider-Man 2, given the post-credit scene in the original Marvel's Spider-Man. And look, I'm not like I don't hate Venom. I don't. I hate Venom's fans, and I hate I hate the fact that Venom is Venom's Venom, right? He's cool, but he's not the best. He's just not.
He's very 90s. He's very much a product of his time.
Yeah, like that's exactly it, right? Like Deadpool, okay, he had Deadpool, but like Deadpool was a 90s character, and it's very 90s. That's the perfect term for it. So he's in it. He's voiced by Tony Todd, which is a delight. Cool. Yeah, that is very much a delight. I'm very glad to hear about that. I'm looking at this trailer now, and you see Spider-Man with his white spider suit, his advanced suit, and you see a scene of him fighting with his iron spider appendages, legs. And in the first game, you could get those, but they were just like a gimmick, right? Like that was one of your powers, that you could activate your superpower and the arms would come out. And they didn't really do anything. Like once the arms were out, you had more melee damage or something like that. Like they didn't really do anything. This looks like they are going to, and this is a CG trailer, so I'm just inferring things. But it seems like those arms are going to play a bigger role in the actual story regarding different animations and stuff like that.
I mean, I feel like if they're going to give Peter those arms, that will further differentiate the way he plays versus how Miles plays.
Yeah, like Miles and Peter play differently, but they may not play differently enough to warrant both of them in the same game, which is, like you said, the reason why you got to hook Peter up with like a lot of gadgets and shit. I see Miles doing his thing. He looks like he plays like he did in his standalone adventure. I see a tandem takedown, which is cool. So I don't know if this means co-op. I don't necessarily look, I'm fine either way, but if you can have the Spider Boys in the same place at the same time doing all their spider shenanigans, that's wonderful. We see Venom. It was heavily implied that, spoiler alert, Venom is Harry Osborn, which, by the way, if you're gonna do a Venom, that is the way to do Venom. Venom should be
do him way different.
Yeah, and Venom should be a character that is close to Spider-Man. If you're going to have this evil opposite archetype, he should be a character that is close to Peter Parker. He shouldn't be Peter Parker's kind of coworker that he doesn't like, right? Like Venom knows everything about Spider-Man. The host should, in parallel, know a lot about Spider-Man, like know how to get to him, right? Like
I always liked Flash as
it makes more sense. It makes more sense because he has a pre-existing relationship with Peter. All right, Eddie Brock is all right, but like no, Venom
I like
works.
And respect Eddie Brock, but
Fine.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I just think that character in and of itself works better if the host has a pre-existing relationship with Peter. And I'm hoping that I can't wait to see that dynamic, right? And then you get voiceover throughout the whole trailer. The voiceover sounds distinctly Eastern European.
Yeah, it sounds like Craven.
Right. He's talking about like, I've been looking for someone to, to challenge me to be, so that I could be the best. Like, that's Craven's deal. That's
it's gonna be Craven and Venom being the two big bads in this game, and I'm super down with that.
And I hope that they don't just like limit it to like, Spider-Man's got a lot of ancillary villains. I would love for a couple of jobbers to come in there. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But I would love for, and I think I saw Cam said this also in our Discord, and I agree with him. I would love for Craven to kind of perform like Taskmaster did in the first game.
I was just about to say, where he just shows up and like whoops your ass wholesale.
Right. But I want him like more of a presence, right? Mm-hmm. Like I want traps to be like just like out of nowhere, right? Like I want like a blow dart to just be like bam and just hits them, right? And now you wake up in an arena or something and you have to, and Craven is testing you before he comes in, right? Like I want there to be I'm looking forward to Craven a little more than Venom, just to see Craven, what you can do with him.
And I really hope Craven feels like this threat that's like, it's always there. Like, you could swing around this next building and now you're in a Craven fight. Like you don't know.
Yeah. I want him to be able to, like, the way combat is, it's very stick and move, right? Which is how Spider-Man should fight, right? Stick and move, stick and move, stick and move. I want Craven to be able to shut that shit down. I want Craven to be able to, you can't creep around walls and hide from Craven, right? Like Miles will turn on his invisibility. No, that shit don't work on Craven. Get out of here, right? Like Craven he's a hunter, right? Like he understands all that. So look, man, I am super jazzed. I'm gonna be 43 years old when this game comes out. Like that might sound, oh, you're being ridiculous. No, I'm not. I'm gonna be 43 years old and giddy for this Spider-Man game. And but yeah, man, look, if it comes out in 2023, it comes out in 2023. Just make it just do it right.
I'm hyped. Like the way that I sort of want this the switching between Peter and Miles to work is sort of how you switch between the characters in GTA 5, if that makes sense. Where each of them will just sort of be, when you're not controlling the other one, they're just off doing Spider-Man shit,
off doing Spider-Man shit,
and sometimes you'll jump into them and he will be in the middle of solving a robbery or some shit like that.
like hey Peter, I need your help, I'm on my way, and then a couple of minutes later, right, like here comes Peter fucking coming in there and throwing gadgets all over the place and all that shit. So
I'm hoping there's a degree of online co-op that can happen. I
wouldn't mind.
I feel like that's
I think it'd be cool to be able to like hot swap between the characters like during the fight, since it's got that free-flowing Batman combat anyway. Like that seems like it would make more sense. Maybe not in the whole game, like maybe you pick certain like missions that they go on together that you can do that. But
I would imagine that there are going to be Peter missions and Miles missions and man, I'm looking forward to it. I also want to see I wouldn't mind seeing, Mr. Negative was a big bad in the first game. I would
love to see him back.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him back.
These fights are really cool, like just fucking trippy.
I wouldn't mind seeing like other characters back, like or not back, but like introduced, right? Like because Spider-Man has, like, you think of an animal, so he's probably a Spider-Man villain, right? I wouldn't mind seeing a couple of newer characters. I don't think you could do like Kindred, but like, yeah, man, like
I would like to see Lizard.
I come on, man. Come on. I would like to see Mysterio, right?
I really want. I was gonna.
Yeah,
Mysterio's
man,
my favorite. I really want to see Mysterio.
Like,
I think
Blizzard
Mysterio could fill the Mr. Negative sort of like trippy, weird bullshit sort of.
Yeah,
role.
like Lizard kind of had that with like, oh, well, I'm gonna poison Peter and he's gonna start seeing shit, right? But that like that kind of, I was like, oh well, you could have gave that to Mysterio, but I want to see Mysterio now, and I want to see some wild shit, man. Like, I want to see some shit. And I want Mysterio to actually fuck with the player too. You know what I mean? Like, not just fuck with Peter and make different illusions and shit, but like go like eternal darkness with this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Given the kind of haptic feedback that you can get through the controller, like that is ripe for Mysterio fucking with the player.
Yeah, man. Oh my God. I can't wait, man. I can't wait to turn 43 goddamn years old to play this game. But yeah, I'm super excited, man.
Are you excited to see what Insomniac can do with a Wolverine game?
Yes.
A character?
Yes. It's a character that again, another character who I like is fine, but whose fans are incredibly annoying. And but like the last good Wolverine game was ironically a movie tie-in.
Right. Which one was that? The
X-Men Origins.
Yeah.
The X-Men Origins.
Is that the one with like the really dope Sentinel fight at the end?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it turns out that was just a Wolverine game that Fox was like, can we put our name on that too? But yeah, it was a dope ass Wolverine game, and I really, really enjoyed it. Look, Insomniac doing it, I got no fear in this game. The only thing I'm worried about now is are you gonna cross it over? Are you gonna have an Insomniac MGU? Like, that's all I'm concerned with at this point. Like, Insomniac taking on a Wolverine game, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it because I know what Insomniac can do. Look, they might be the best video game publisher out there or developer out there. They might just be the best developer out there in terms of making like
consistently good, fun video games that aren't impossible to get into. Yeah.
That aren't impossible to get into. That aren't. Look, I love Naughty Dog, right? I do, but they make movies, right? They make movies. They make movies. Right. They make playable movies. Like, I love those Uncharted games, but they make playable movies, right? Like, Insomniac makes straight up fun
video games.
And so yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see what they do with it. I'm excited to see what kind of outfits they put in it, right? Because Wolverine is another character with an expansive wardrobe. So, and that's part of the fun.
Ooh, I hope they put some of the old like Hugh Jackman looks in there too.
Hell yeah, man.
Let me play this fucking gritty video game, but like as Hugh Jackman. And he sing.
So yeah, if Insomniac is making the Wolverine game, I'm fine. I'm cool with it.
Honestly, on the Marvel front, I know this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I'm also like kind of excited to play this Guardians of the Galaxy game.
I'm
like,
low-key excited for it.
I feel like it's gonna be at least a fun time. Like, it's probably not going to be the best game ever made, but I feel like it looks so much better than anything else Square Enix has done with the franchise.
Yeah, I feel like this is what the Avengers should have been.
I hope that the gameplay can pull you through. I hope the story can pull you through, because what we've seen in the gameplay does not look like it will be.
Not blown away by the gameplay
for 15 hours,
right?
But the vibe of all the trailers that I've seen, and we did get a new one in this showcase. I don't know. I'm it's probably not going to be a day one purchase. But this is a game that'll go on sale for $30 in another 2 months anyway. So,
yep. I am very impressed. You guys won't care about this at all. I am very impressed with the trailer that they showed off for GT7, which now has a release date in early March.
It just looked like video footage of cars.
This is going to be the dopest ray tracing game that's ever existed. like when they do that like panning shot of where you see like the buildings and the lights, and then it zooms out and you see that's the reflection off of a car that you're basically seeing, and you're just like, what the fuck? Like, this is amazing. Like, they have dynamic weather in the game where like they have day-night cycles that'll occur while you're actually playing. The rain is going to be like, it's not just gonna be like pre-programmed rain, like it's gonna have dynamic rain. Like, if cars are going down the track, it will clear water and you'll have like a dry line essentially on the track, because you can see, you know, parts of the track they showed that were waterlogged, and then the racing line was relatively dry. So this looks really cool. The trailer itself also was like an homage to all the previous Gran Turismo games as well, because they had a lot of imagery from previous like opening videos, like the cinematics from previous GT games. So it looks very cool. Can't wait to play that one. They showed off game footage from God of War Ragnarok for the first time. It got the Gamergate chuds a stir.
Yeah, because there's a black woman.
Reasons.
There's a black woman in this video game, and also Thor is built like a strongman rather than like a bodybuilder. So
yeah.
Look, I don't know.
Here's what I got to say to those dudes: die mad about it.
Yeah, I don't know much about Norse mythology, but I always thought that Thor was supposed to be not like, he wasn't an Adonis, right? Like, these people are Scandinavian.
Thor in Assassin's Creed Valhalla was not like the Marvel vacation of Thor.
Right.
Like, he just looked like
exactly.
Thor. He looked like a big, beefy, bearded guy that carried a hammer around. Like,
he looked like the Mountain, yo. Like, the Mountain isn't chiseled. He's a big dude, yo.
Right.
Like, he's a strong man.
People don't seem to understand that men who are actually physically very strong and can move a lot of weight don't look like bodybuilders most of the time. The people like the dudes competing in the world's strongest man contest, none of them look like fucking bodybuilders.
Right. They don't have abs.
There's no aesthetic, you know, there's no rippling chiseled abs to these dudes who like actually do feats of strength, you know. Like,
there were also people, I don't know if it was like the Gamergate folks like looking to poke holes in this, or like Xbox fanboys, but like there was like one guy on Twitter who was pointing out, he's like, oh, they reused the same like getting into the boat animation that they used in the first God of War game. I'm like,
of course they did. Why would they reanimate that?
Redo the animation to get in the fucking boat.
It's the same boat.
That's like
why
saying,
would they redo that?
they reused the same location for God of War for the sequel to a video game. What the fuck? Guys, they reused the same Kratos. Why don't we have a new character? Like, all right, yo, all right. Look, there's a black person in this game, and I haven't been looking at the comments because I haven't been looking at too many. Right, I know people are like, well, this isn't realistic for this mythological character to be black.
Hey, guess what? It's a video game. It's a work of fiction. Anyone can be anything. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, like they're saying that as they can't wait to control a Greek character who kills the Greek god of war and then crosses the street to another mythological land. Like, I didn't know mythology worked like that, guys. It's so realistic. I mean, I'm over it. I'm over it at this point with people in their bullshit racist
I mean, look,
process.
You don't see me walking into every church in this country and yelling at them for having white Jesus up on the fucking cross.
Right, yo.
Like, Jesus was brown.
Yeah,
I mean, goddamn, yo.
Miss ethnicity somebody. So
look at the people over in that part of the world right now. Like, I just, God.
No, I mean that people really think like have portraits of Jesus looking like fucking Ewan McGregor in episode 3.
Yeah,
like
he does. They do. Fucking like Jesus you see in church has skin like mine for a fucking guy that lived in a area of the world where it's like 100 degrees 9 months out of the year every day. Jesus Christ, like come on.
But look, this trailer's all gameplay, man, or like 90% gameplay, and yeah, man, this is an actual like video game trailer. Now, a lot of the story sequences are done in engine, so that helps a lot. But you never finished God of War?
I still intend to at some point, but
it's a great little father-son story. And it's a fun game. When I say it's a great father-son story, it's also don't use I see people that like don't use Kratos as a model for being a father, guys. Like he's trying, but he's not a good person. He's not. He's a very violent individual. But yeah, man, it's a very different type of Kratos, and one that I like. And I read that this is going to be the final story in the Norse mythological saga of Kratos.
Burn off people's their OCD because everything has to be fucking trilogies anymore.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like which I'm glad if they got a story to tell, go ahead and tell that story. And then maybe he can go around the corner and go to another mythological climate. And then maybe he can go to Egyptian mythology and then put a white person in there, and then that'll make up for the black girl being in the Scandinavian.
I would love for Kratos to go through Christian mythology. I think that would be a fantastic.
Look, man, I think it would be great, but I want to see how Jesus is portrayed. That's it. I just want to see how Jesus.
Imagine like a boss fight against like a jacked Moses. You kill him by breaking like the stone tablet over his head.
Oh shit.
Don't be cowards. Do it.
Yeah, do it. I want to see it now. Do it. I won't get offended.
The other big notable trailer in this was our first real look at Forspoken, which was a game that we had heard about, but apparently it's like teenage girl travels to an alternate medieval dimension.
Yeah, it's a fucking isekai anime, but a video game. I wasn't super impressed. I was immediately annoyed by the main character talking as much as she did. That's just me. I didn't vibe with it.
I agree. It seems like one of those janky Square games that I don't know about this, man. I really don't. And I don't think this is a game for me.
Yeah.
I was excited. I guess this was also announced previously, but got an extensive look during the showcase. Chia, TCHIA, I think that's how you pronounce it. That'll be PS4, PS5, and Epic Games Store next year. It looks cute as fuck. It's clearly inspired slightly by Breath of the Wild, but also has like a possession mechanic similar to Mario Odyssey. And also you can pet a crab, and I'm always about being able to pet animals in my video games. Also, how have we not talked about the fucking KOTOR remake they opened the show with?
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
I wonder if it's going to be a straight remake, right? Because I won't spoil the big twist for KOTOR, but I feel like it's one of those ubiquitous, like everyone knows about the twist.
I feel like we've talked about it recently on the show.
Right. But I won't spoil it for people who haven't played it, but I'm curious if it's just going to, they say remake, like not remaster, remake. So when you say remake, I'm thinking like Final Fantasy VII remake. And I'm wondering if they're going to switch things up a bit.
I don't know. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're calling it a remake mostly because it is like a from scratch remake of the game. It's not like they, KOTOR is what, 20 years old at this point?
Jesus.
Yeah, it's pretty old. And notably, this is
2003, so it's
Prime
18
exclusive as well.
Yeah, it's a PS5 timed console exclusive. It will also be coming to PC. No release window was mentioned. This was basically just a teaser where we got to see Darth Revan.
Now, notably, the game that this studio that's developing it is most known for, or most notable for, is Star Wars Republic Commando. Mostly they've been doing a lot of porting of games to consoles. Like they did the console and mobile port for Civ 6. They did the Ruby definitive edition as well. They have a few credits for Nintendo also. So I don't know too much of the pedigree for this studio. So I'd be curious to see what they have to bring to the table. Apparently, like EA and BioWare have little to no involvement with this remaster, which is interesting. So we'll see. Like I said, I hope it's good. The Mass Effect trilogy, I think, set a high bar for this type of remaster. So we'll see what we get.
Yeah, I feel like I've said somewhat recently on the show that if a game was to be remade, that KOTOR was definitely on my list of things that I want to remake, because I really have no interest in going back and playing a game that looks like, by today's standards, a potato. I'm not that much of like a graphics whore. I could get through it if like I really wanted to. But sometimes, those, games from 2001 to 2004, today that like, just like every so often I'll load up Morrowind and be like, I can play through Morrowind again. And then like, I see the walk cycle animation and I'm just like, oh
yeah, it's not like,
like
it's not like those games had like charm in their graphics or characters. Like, no. they wanted them to look as realistic as they possibly could.
Right.
And, it just, seeing Karth's like weird Max Payne face, like
there's some real smudgy polygons in those games, and I'm not really interested in doing that. But yeah, I was hype as fuck that they're remaking KOTOR. Now the real question is, if this does well enough, will they do KOTOR 2 and give it a real ending this time?
I think it would have to do like considerably well to get KOTOR 2. I don't think that would be like an automatic type of thing. That was pretty much like the most notable stuff. Aside from that, we got like a better look at Ghostwire Tokyo for the first time. We got the announcement of a virtual exhibition coming to PlayStation from Radiohead, which is, we don't really know much about that yet.
If you like Radiohead, I guess that's cool.
There's a new action hack and slash game called Project Eve that's coming out that they showed a lot of gameplay from, that also looked like they were trying to tie it into Parasite Eve in some respects, but I can't imagine that that's a direct corollary. But yeah,
the only thing I saw when I was watching that trailer was that outfit that she's wearing does not go with this environment that she's in. I couldn't help.
Yeah. So, but that, like I said, a pretty solid back end of that showcase. And Sony gave the people what they wanted. They gave the folks what they were asking for. So you can't have any complaints about that. Should be fun. So cool. I was most excited for Micah just because of the
yeah, man. So. I can't wait to be 43 years old.
What a sentence.
Oh man, I still haven't 100%ed my Spider-Man remaster. I need to do that.
I still haven't played.
You haven't played it?
I played it on PS4 recently enough that I really had no massive itch to go back and play it on. Here's what I'll probably do. And given that I have a sneaking suspicion that it'll probably hit PlayStation Plus sometime between now and then. So what I'll
now
do
and 2 years from now?
Yeah. So I'm figuring I'll wait until it hits PlayStation Plus for free. Then I'll play it on PS5 and hype myself up for Spider-Man 2.
There you go. Well, you got the time.
I sure do.
Cool. You can get your PlayStation Plus membership.
Can
Amazon.
you get it from Amazon?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Oh, you can? I didn't know you could. Sorry, again, I'm out of it because I had a late night having to wrangle one drunk person and one high person. Go to densepixels.com/Amazon. And
you would do well to maybe buy yourself some jugs of like Folgers coffee off of densepixels.com/Amazon to give yourself some energy.
If I was one of those weirdos who drank coffee, I would definitely go to densepixels.com/Amazon for all of my weirdo coffee purchases. When you go to densepixels.com/Amazon, every purchase that you make helps us at no additional cost to you. Let's see. Buy it again. Someone has been using my account. Dunkin' Donuts hazelnut flavored coffee K-cups. I don't know what any of that stuff means, but apparently my wife does, and you can buy it at densepixels.com/Amazon.
We go to the post office. We'll start with Johnny, who asks about our thoughts on the GeForce Game Link. Apparently some NVIDIA documents leaked out showing some PlayStation games that are coming to PC.
That was a lot.
Yeah, it was quite a few.
That was a lot.
I mean, PlayStation has gone on record as saying that they are planning on porting more things to PC. So this shouldn't be that surprising.
It's surprising in how many titles that we have long believed would remain Sony exclusives, such as God of War and Uncharted, would be coming to PC. Like things that you consider Sony first-party titles.
Sure.
I expect Sony first-party titles to remain Sony exclusives. You know, the stuff about Final Fantasy VII Remake or Final Fantasy 16, that doesn't surprise me as much, just in so much that I don't consider Square stuff to be first-party Sony.
Yeah. I think there's a difference, though, between these games coming to PC eventually, and it would be a much bigger deal if they were releasing them like
sure, you know, same day.
Yeah, like I think that putting them on PC years after the fact is not harming them in any way.
No, I don't think it is either, but it is interesting. And here's the thing, there are some stuff such as Horizon Forbidden West, Gran Turismo 7, that, you know, what if that's like 6 months? Like, is that enough time for the console version to breathe before it comes to PC? I'm sure for a lot of people it is, but I'm someone who basically at this point uses my PC as my primary gaming system. So why would I play, you know, the PS5 is great. Ultimately, my PC will always be better. So why should I spend $70 on a PlayStation 5 title when I know I'm going to be able to get it on my PC with the rest of my stuff 4, 5, 6 months later?
I don't think it would be that soon of a turnaround, though. I think they'd wait at least a year on most everything.
Yep.
That's coming. So,
I mean, I would, right? Like, it would make sense for them to wait, but because, you know, you got hardcore PC people who were just like, well, if they're starting this, I'm just gonna wait. And you got dummies like me who will, you know, get whatever game the day it comes out, right? Like, yeah, they'll wait. They'll wait.
Yeah. I don't think it's as important to their ecosystem as it is for, like, say, Microsoft, because Microsoft also owns Windows, so they have a vested interest in making sure that Windows is still remaining a popular platform. Rev asks, I finally been getting the hang of the first Ori, which is maybe its bitch, but I'm sticking with it. I'm getting better at it. Do any of y'all have a game that's pretty hard, but just by sheer will and even improvement from the player has made you determined to get better at that game, to beat it and play it again?
I'm at the point in my life where I refuse to play difficult games. Like unless I really love the game, I'm not going to like. I have no problem putting a game on easy if I feel I need to.
So I agree with that. That being said, I feel like old Fire Emblem games, like the ones for the Game Boy Advance, and even playing newer ones on like classic mode, those are games that can be very hard, particularly when you factor in like permadeath of your units and stuff like that. You know, the first Fire Emblem game that was brought to the United States, for the Game Boy Advance, I guess that was like 2003. So I was like 13 years old playing a strategy RPG that had permanent death mechanics. So yeah, it was basically you either get better at the game or you fucking die. Like that was it. So yeah, I got pretty good at strategy RPGs by running the same couple of levels of Fire Emblem over and over again. Because there's a couple in that game that have like the fog of war mechanic where you can't see or the enemy units, and that sucks. So yeah, on one hand, I'm like, I believe people should be able to lower the difficulty and enjoy the story. On the other hand, I think if you play Fire Emblem on casual mode, you're a baby back bitch, and you shouldn't be playing strategy RPGs.
And guess who don't play them? Look, if you could play hard games, more power to you, man. I just can't.
I'm running into the difficulty curve with my newest genre of getting into like sim racing games, because especially when you go online, like they don't really hold your hand. Like you get grouped into groups with people that are around your skill level, but you know it's not easy. It just encourages you to get out there, race as much as possible, to learn the tracks inside and out so that you can shave tenths of seconds off of your qualifying times, because those, couple tenths might be the difference between starting 7th and being caught in the fuckery of the midfield, or starting 2nd on the grid and having that shit going on behind you in your rearview mirror, which makes it a lot easier to finish on a podium. So like that's been the thing for me, is just kind of venturing online more and taking my lumps, which is not fun. Like it's not fun to start, to be 11th on the grid and finish in 15th because you got banged around by people that don't know how to race their fucking cars and don't respect you on the track. But it's a learning process, and you learn to get better, and hopefully your skill will improve as time goes along. So it's been fun so far. Let's see. We'll go to Cam. He says reportedly Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Johnny Gargano's contracts all expire in the next few months. Who do you think is most likely to stay, and who do you think is most likely to go to AEW? I think that you're going to see a lot of prime talent that never quite got the run in WWE testing out AEW. But I think you might see some guys pump the brakes a little bit too. I think they might wait to see how certain guys are used. And it's curious to see what AEW is going to do either, because I think, Mike, you mentioned it last week. We don't they'd be stupid to get themselves into a WCW situation where they bring in all these known commodities and all of a sudden their young talent doesn't really have a chance to flourish.
Yeah. I look, I know Kevin Owens was kind of having fun, but I could see him staying. And I could see Sami Zayn staying. Johnny Gargano, I don't know. But I can see those two dudes staying and just like having fun. AEW and AEW needs to, like I said, AEW needs to kind of chill on the signings. Like it's I get it, like, right, and it's super exciting, but like you got to do something with these people. Remember, Sean Spears was a big deal.
Yeah.
Now what is he doing, right? Like it. I think everybody needs to just kind of, like you said, pump the brakes and see how things shake out. If you can help it, don't sign a long-term contract.
Gustavo asks you, Micah, your thoughts on Chelsea striker Romelu Lukaku.
He's awesome, dude. Look, I'm glad you picked Chelsea as the team that would fit my personality, because they're very easy to like because they're very good. And it really gets you into it when your team is very good. And yeah, man, like I was watching it, and that first goal, when he got that pass, and then he just kind of in basketball parlance, he broke that guy's ankles, yo. and he scored the goal, and I was just like, oh, this is fucking awesome. And then he tried to slide on his knees and he fucked up, and I was like, oh my god, please no. But no, man, like this dude, I've looked into him a little bit, and yeah, I like him, man. I like him. I hopped on his Instagram. He's taking pictures with Jay-Z. Yeah. I mean, that's you cool with me, bro. Look, it won't be long before you see me in a Lukaku. Do they call them jerseys, Brad?
You can call them jersey, kit, shirt, whatever you want to call it.
You know, it won't be long before you see me in one. So just don't be surprised.
Spurs did not have a good weekend this past weekend. It was a pretty shit game from Tottenham. We'll go to Daniel. He asks me and Micah if we've ever cosplayed as a video game character. And then Carrie, he says you remember having a Monster Hunter costume. Do you have any others? Do you have a favorite? I
have a lot. I have a lot of. I've been cosplaying since 2003. Actually, on the cosplay news front, I will actually be running cosplay for Baltimore Comic-Con this year. So you can find me there. Yeah, I have a lot of costumes. It's hard to pick like one favorite. Like Monster Hunter is up there. My Isaac costume from Golden Sun is up there. My Breath of the Wild Link is up there. I have Agatha Harkness from WandaVision. I've actually got 2 of her outfits. So
not a video game character.
Not yet.
I have never cosplayed as a video game character, to the shock of absolutely no one, probably.
I've cosplayed as Dr. Doom, and technically he has been in video games. So yes, I have. And it was, I thought I would look awesome, and I really didn't. It was not a good. It was not. I don't even know if I have any pictures of it. If I have pictures, I will let Carrie see them, and she can make fun of them to her heart's content.
I mean, but here's the thing, like. I at least know that like I look really cool in my costumes. I feel like I look like less of a dweeb in my costume sometimes than I do right now. Yeah, I have a lot of costumes. Like what other video? Oh, I did Joker from Persona 5. That was just like Amazon Prime to my house though. Princess Daisy. I've done a bunch of Pokemon stuff. I've done a bunch of Toho stuff. I think I've done like more video game stuff than really anything else over the years.
Gully asks, the announcement of Wolverine reminded them of how their childhood love for the character was sullied after they were violated at the hands of Magneto. Has a character you loved been beaten or embarrassed so badly that you just couldn't stand to root for them any longer?
Nope.
That's an interesting question. Yeah. I tend to root for badasses. Dr. Doom has been defeated by the unbeatable Squirrel Girl, but like so has everyone. So that's not. I'm not embarrassed by it. Ain't nothing wrong with Squirrel Girl. And Spider-Man's always getting his ass handed to him, but like that's part of the character, right? Like he gets his ass handed to him, and then he has to find the resolve to come back, keep getting up. Come on, Spidey, come on, get up. You gotta keep doing that shit. So, but no, never to the point of just like utter embarrassment. Like that's funny.
No, I can't say that I've ever dropped the character because they've gotten their pants pulled down, basically. Yeah, that's a thing that's happened. Malcolm, showing the love for Big E, our new WWE champion after last night. Very exciting news. He also asks when Shelton Benjamin's going to get his flowers. Never. Like the time for that would have been 15 years ago when he was a relevant professional wrestler.
Yeah, I don't know if unfortunately he'll get his flowers when he passes away. Unfortunately, I feel like people underestimate that guy because like he's a good wrestler, but he's not a good pro wrestler.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like there's a lot to being a pro wrestler than just like looking the part and being able to do the moves, which is why people who are shit get over.
Yeah,
so
it's true.
That sucks, but I missed that episode, man. I missed that whole episode because I had to deal with these two drunken assholes.
I mean, that's okay. You can they have YouTube for a reason. Like you can go back and watch it happen. It's a nice moment. Woods and Kofi came out and celebrated in the ring with him. Of course, they're all back on the same show now because now E's gonna have to be on Raw because he's the WWE champion. So. And they made it so that when Lashley and Goldberg have a rematch eventually, it does not have to be for the title, which I was the most excited about, honestly. So that was a good time. So Amir asked me, who do you think was at fault for the accident at Monza? He says it was definitely Max Verstappen, but he wants to hear my opinion. My blame goes to the sausage curb because the sausage curb is what caused the accident to be.
Sorry, what?
The sausage curb. So basically around some of the corners of the track, they have essentially what looks like a small speed bump. So for those who didn't see the accident, so Hamilton and Verstappen came in tight on turn 1 at Monza, which Monza has a super long straight, and then the first turn is this like S-shaped chicane, which makes you go from like 180 miles an hour down to like 50 before you can turn into it essentially. And so Hamilton had the line to go through the turn, but Verstappen was coming up into his line essentially, and Hamilton wasn't ceding any space for Verstappen. Now Hamilton wasn't obligated to give space because he had positioning on the track and Verstappen did not. Verstappen probably should have backed out of the corner, but he pressed the advantage, or not pressed the advantage, he pressed in and went over the curb and then went over the sausage curb, and he went in such a way that going over the sausage curb caused his car to flip up in the air and land on top of Hamilton's car to the point where his tire actually landed on Lewis Hamilton's head. Not full on because the cars have like this thing called a halo around them, which is basically a protective bar to protect things like this from happening. But part of his rear tire definitely was scraping against Hamilton's crash helmet. And the two cars ended up on top of each other essentially, which is what took them out of the race. Verstappen was immediately on the radio saying, well, that's what happens when you don't leave space for the car. It was his fault, but I think the sausage curb is what made it really bad. Like if that was a regular curb, they would have banged wheels. They might have clunked heads a little bit, but I think they both could have kept racing. The fact that he landed on top of Hamilton made it look a lot worse, obviously, than the incident probably was going to be. I think so he got a 3-place grid penalty, so meaning at the next race, whatever position he qualifies in, he's gonna have to be 3 back. That seems fine. Like a more harsh penalty would be starting him in the back or banning him from the race, and then definitely didn't warrant that. It wasn't a malicious move. But Max probably has more fault, and being as contrite as Red Bull was, I think they think it was Max's fault too. So they weren't banging their chest after this one like they were after the Hamilton, the last incident that the two of them had that we talked about on the show previously. Also, he says, who do you think will win the Russian Grand Prix? I think that it'll either be Hamilton or Bottas who wins that. Probably whoever qualifies better. And if honestly, that'll probably be Hamilton because they'll make Valtteri slow down to seed for Hamilton. And finally, Ladar said, if you can play one game that is not coming out this year today, which one would you choose?
He's going with KOTOR, by the way.
Of course he
is. Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I mean,
yep.
Come on, man. KOTOR would probably be second.
Yeah.
Mine is GT7. So
there you go. Is Star Wars far and away the best KOTOR far and away the best Star Wars game, right?
I think people would probably fight for Jedi Fallen Order at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends on what you're into. There's enough Star Wars games across enough genres that chances are you can find something there that you will enjoy at this point. So
I think that is a fair statement and a great way to end the show. Don't forget to follow us in Discord, where you can talk video games, you can talk wrestling, you can talk F1 and racing, you can talk EPL soccer, all sorts of stuff. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to us on YouTube at youtube.com/DensePixels, and then follow us on Twitch. I'm DensePixels Brad, Terrence Zapparition 410, Carrie Summits Carrie. Carrie has a music show or music festival that she'll be playing at.
This past weekend was the Racer Sound Festival, which we played at, which was windy because it was outside. So that's always a challenge. And then not this weekend, next weekend, the September 25th, we will be playing at the inaugural Good Game Fest in Westminster, Maryland, which is shaping up to be one heck of an event. So I hope you come out if you're local. It's a video game convention held inside a mostly dead mall, and we're gonna play some tunes and have a good time.
And Extra Life soon too. So
yeah, my campaign for that is going. Please donate if you can. Always good. I'm playing Fallout New Vegas this year, so
awesome. Well, thank you guys very much for watching and listening, and we'll see you all the next time.
See ya.
See ya.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here, and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.